All righty, well, thank you and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our May 27th, 2025 regular meeting of the Waynesboro Area School District Board of Directors. I invite you to please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we do roll call, this past week or so, we've had some unfortunate news. A big member of our community, Mr. Mayor Dick Starlepper, sadly passed away. And unfortunately, we also had a learner at one of our elementary schools, Maori, pass away. And so we want to give our condolences to both families. And we also want to go ahead and we'll take a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Ms. Hennicle, if you could begin us with roll call, please.
Mrs. Miles?
Here.
Mrs. Zimmerman?
Here.
Mr. Pence?
Here.
Mrs. Straight is not here today. Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mrs. Fortney?
Here.
Dr. Royer?
Here.
Mr. Hamburger?
Here.
Mr. Marvin?
Here. Thank you. That will then bring us down to the approval of our agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Dr. Sternheim, any adjustments to our agenda this evening?
No.
All righty, so the agenda is before you. We have a first and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That then brings us to the approval of the minutes. These minutes are from our May 13, 2025 regular meeting. Is there an approval to approve those minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second. Any adjustments or corrections for these minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries. That brings us then to our superintendent report. Dr. Sternheim.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So yeah, we're in the home stretch. Lots of fun activities planned this week. I know with our elementary and middle school celebrating field days, we have baccalaureate, graduation. I believe from all accounts, we had a very successful prom. A big thank you to all the faculty, staff, learners who supported all the decorating efforts. And so in addition, I believe it was included in your Friday folder. We received a $15,000 donation from the granddaughter of Alma Oyer to be used with the Alma House. So she was able to meet with us, myself and Mrs. McDonald, I believe it was last week or the week before last week. So again, Alma Oyer's legacy continues on and continues to assist learners and the Waynesboro Area School District. So I want to thank the family for that. And we also have a special guest tonight with another announcement. Yes, Mr. Eric McEwan and Mr. Jeff Adams.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Adams. I represent the Alice Club of Waynesboro. We're a giving club that likes to support our local community, our organizations, charities, and especially our youth. And with that, we reached out to Mr. Malcolm for any needs for the sports department, and he was fortunate enough to give us a list that I didn't read it all. So we have two checks, one for $1,000 to the Waynesboro Basketball Association Girls Basketball Program, and we have another check for $9,809 for various needs that Mr. Malcolm has for himself. So we're happy to do this for you, and please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you.
Wait, Jeff, you can't, Mr. Adams, we need a picture. You can't get out that scot-free.
Dr. McCallum, can you assist? Thank you.
Who give us a check, we get.
All right, you can come back anytime.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Mr. Adams worked for the district for a number of years, and so we are glad for his prior service and for his willingness to represent the Owls Club tonight. So,
We always
Thank
like
you.
checks.
yeah, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Adams.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Jeff.
It's not made out to Eric. I do want to thank the Owls Club so much for their generous donations over the course of the years. I mean, $10,000 is amazing. So I did ask for a little more, but he helps, and they also helped several of our teams throughout the course of the year with golf and cheer earlier in the year, made large donations to both those programs. So I just want to say a big thank you to the Owls Club for everything that they've done for us over the course of the past years.
So since Mr. McElwain is at the mic, I'd ask permission that I could essentially ask some questions like during a public forum regarding questions that oftentimes come to me. And I would just want to have from a clarification from a district perspective and community perspective. What is the PIAA status on allowing private schools to participate in our athletic program?
Yeah, this question comes up quite a bit, and I get it every year. It's not a Eric McElwain rule. It's not a WASD rule. It's a PIAA rule that states that, actually I reached directly out to Dr. Bob Lombardi, the president of the PIAA and or director, I guess is his official title, but his email to me directly was, when a child or a parent, choose to go to a private school, they get all the benefits of the private school that they have to offer, and then they get everything that they don't have to offer. So with that being said, if they're a member of the private school that is not subscribed to the PIAA, they don't, then they're not allowed to participate in sports in their local school districts because they do attend that private school. So again, not an Eric rule.
Got it.
Yeah.
And I know from time to time we have families reaching out saying, why can't we have boys lacrosse? Why can't we have a tennis team? Why can't we have girls flag football? So can you give us an update on?
Yeah, and I get requests all the time, which is fine. And we have added sports. And we've added girls wrestling just recently. We added boys and girls swimming. And we've added competitive cheer since I've been here. So we've added 4 sports. And I do get requests quite a bit for lacrosse. Have recently gotten requests for flag football, and I don't bring every request to the board because from my eyes, we have to look at it. We need to field the teams that we have with as many competitive athletes that we can possibly get. And the other part of it is from a financial standpoint. If we added, just say lacrosse, if we add boys lacrosse, there's 11 people on the field. It basically costs the same as football. So we have to do reconditioning for the shoulder pads, reconditioning for the helmets every year. And then trying to get a schedule together, a place for them to practice, because we look at our fields and our limitations that we have with our fields. That would be during the spring. So we have track and field going on. So we have well over 200 athletes between high school and middle school on track. And then we have the soccer fields both being used by the middle school on the other side. So, practice would then have to be after hours and light. And so then a coach and then travel. The closest team for lacrosse, I believe, there's a team in Gettysburg. Then we get up into Chambersburg and then to Harrisburg for any competition that we may or may not have. So we look at those factors. Same thing with flag football. I was asked about flag football. So far in the Mid-Penn, no one has added flag football. There's just 2 weeks ago, PIAA stated when the flag football season would actually occur. So we got that clarification in the spring. So that's something that we may look at down the road. And the other part we have to look at is Title IX. If we add a boys lacrosse team, then we're looking at our numbers wouldn't be equitable. We'd have to add a female sport as well on that end of it. So, but we're going to add both of them. We can look at it, but that's where it is. It's, as the athletic director, I would love to add more sports. Like that would always be a great thing, but we have to look at it from a financial standpoint. We have to look at it from whether we'll be competitive and able to put them in place. So sorry, I rambled a little bit on that, but
We appreciate your input, Mr. McElwain. Thank you.
any other questions?
No, we'll get you next time for the student recognition, so thank you.
And we see who always gets the money.
There you go. Anything else for the superintendent report, Dr. Schernheim?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Did we receive any public comment
I
tonight?
did not receive anything for public comment.
Alrighty. That will then bring us to our learner showcase. This evening we have Mallory, so Mr. Weatherall.
Here, guys. Stand right over. All right.
Yeah.
Maybe Mr. McElwain is happy with your wrestling gear there, so.
Well, thank you guys for allowing me to showcase some of our students here. We have some future student athletes, and I know that Dr. Royer and Mrs. Zimmerman and Mr. McElwain will specifically like this, the future of these athletes here. So this is the Swope family, and we have Emma, who's in 5th grade. We have Noah in 2nd grade and Luke in kindergarten. They are a wrestling family. And all 3 of them went to youth wrestling nationals this past year. And Emma placed 6th at nationals. Noah placed 5th and Luke placed 3rd at the wrestling tournament. So to get there, they start with a local tournament at Waynesboro. And then they have to, once they qualify there, they go to State College to a regional tournament. And then in the end, at the nationals, they go to Salisbury, Maryland. So I just thought it was a really interesting story that the whole family, and you can see this one's practicing laps back here. So I just thought it was a real neat family, and for Mrs. Zimmerman and Mrs. Royer, these are nephews of the Sanders boys that I wrestled with.
National
Yes. Yeah.
when they were young.
Okay.
Both Josh and Nick.
Okay. So we have a lot of like wrestling heritage here at Waynesboro. So hopefully we'll see them in the future. So I'd just like them to share maybe their favorite part from this whole adventure here. So Emma, why don't you go first?
My favorite part about the adventure was being able to make it to nationals and
Pull that mic down.
Yeah.
being able to make it to nationals and being in the girls division and being able to do these things.
Oh, you might.
Do you want to hold it?
My favorite part was making it to the beach.
Oh, there you go. That's great. Yeah.
My favorite part about wrestling was trying my best and making it to all of these tournaments.
Great.
And didn't you say there was a kid that you lost to, but then beat later? And you told me in my office that was one of your favorite parts. So I just, thank you guys for giving me the time to showcase them. Look to the future, to our future student athletes here.
Thank you.
They're all.
Can we get
Miles is also a high school star athlete.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know who she is now. It's Michael,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
That's Michael.
yeah.
Hey, I've been seeing you forever. So I'm like, wait, I know who she is. Wait.
All right, family, if we could get a picture with Mr. Weatherall over here. Mom, Dad, you can get in there too. Yes. There we go.
Hey.
I'll get old.
I wasn't sure, Reed, if you knew.
I didn't realize until I looked at her again, but I know who she is. She played
And
hockey with
kids,
Rachel.
I can remember watching Mr. Weatherall wrestle.
Me also.
Alrighty, well, thank you all.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. It was a great story, so thank you all very much.
See ya.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jason.
Thanks, sir.
That was great. Well, it's fun when we've had multiple learner showcases over the past couple of months, and they've all featured their students in different ways. And it's always fun to see the different ways that learning is happening in our schools. So we do not have our student board reps this evening, so we will skip down then to board reports. So first is policy committee. Anything, Mr. Pence?
Yeah, policy committee met on last Thursday, May 22nd. We don't have any policies that came for first reading this meeting, but should be next meeting.
Okay.
I can go into more detail.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Pence. Anything from our academic committee, Dr. Royer?
Yes, we do. And I'm gonna defer and ask to give that report at the next board meeting.
Okay, that's
There you
fine
go.
with us.
Okay.
We did have facilities. Anything, Mr. Smith, to report?
Nothing new.
Alrighty, nothing new. We are starting some of our summer projects, so now that school is out at the end of this week, something like the North Bridge is on our kind of our big ticket item right now this summer. Budget did not meet since last board meeting. Our next meeting will be June 9th here in this room at 5:30. So that will be the last budget committee meeting before the budget is presented at the June 10th meeting. There's also a discuss item later on in our agenda this evening.
I do have one.
Yes.
So one of the things on the agenda was talking about the fact that we're going to have AP French, not for next school year, but for the following school year. So it's very exciting that we will have a AP level of all three languages, three languages. French, German, and Spanish. And one of the resources that we're approving this evening is actually an online resource for the French AP that the teacher's going to use this year, coming year, to prepare. And then use it the following year. This is kind of setting precedents for approving online resources. It's the primary board policy requires us to board approve primary resources for classes as curriculum. So, we knew the day would come when it was just online and not a book. So we felt that these needed to be approved, also, and it's going to be the primary resource for the course.
Thank you, Dr. Roy.
So that's going to be under number, like here.
5, I
Five.
believe. Right. Well, that will then bring us into business. And so before we get into the personnel, we have an announcement. So Waynesboro Area School District, we are excited to announce the appointment of Dr. Diane McCallum as the new Assistant Superintendent of the Waynesboro Area School District. With a wealth of experience in education and a strong commitment to learner growth and achievement at the elementary, middle, and high school level. Dr. McCallum will play a vital role in advancing our mission to provide high-quality education for all learners to obtain their first choice. Dr. McCallum brings 22 years of experience in education, having served as an earth and science teacher, K-12 science supervisor, assistant high school principal, assistant middle school principal, elementary principal, and is currently serving as the Washes High School principal. She has also served as adjunct faculty at Wilson College and is currently serving as adjunct professor for Hagerstown Community College. She holds degrees from Westchester University, Penn State University, California University, and Widener University. So I invite the community and the rest of the district to please join us in welcoming Dr. McCallum as the new WASD Assistant Superintendent. We are confident that her expertise and passion for education will greatly benefit our students and our community. Her formal contract is slated for board approval on June 10th, 2025, with a start date of July 1st, 2025. Congratulations, Dr. McCallum. We wanted to kind of introduce that as we move then into our personnel. So, Dr. Sean.
All right, thank you, Mr. Marvin. We have two resignations tonight, both from WAMS, Colette Rooney and Mr. Dennis. We want to thank them for their years of service to the district. We appreciate Mrs. Rooney's expert counseling skills and Mr. Dennis's mathematical ability and all his great scores, and we wish him the best as they're moving on to other things. We have 4 resignations, 3 support staff, and 1 coaching staff. You'll also notice there are 5 reassignments of professional staff. As Dr. Sterner Hein likes to put it, switch it, change it, and rearrange it kind of thing going on there. So there's 5 folks there that have that happening and going on. There's a salary adjustment for one of our new professional staff. And then many appointments coming up. We have 2 support staff. We have a summer school staff, school instructors there. There's 5 of them there. And the pay rate for them over the summer. Diana Carey is the counselor. And we have several summer school paraeducators, being 6 of them there. And pay rate, ESY staff. their pay rate, summer maintenance, and some support staff substitutes. And then last but not least, we have 4 requests for leave we're seeking your approval for.
Alrighty, thank you, Dr. Sean. So is there a motion to approve the personnel as listed?
I so move.
Second.
First and a second. We'll typically have a discussion on personnel unless we are in executive session. So I will bring us to a vote. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain, conflict of interest.
One abstention. That then brings us to the job description of speech content leader.
Thank you. So what you have there is a job description for a speech content leader. I know that the number of speech therapists that we have in the district and the number of learners that require speech has been a topic of conversation. As you read through the administrative content, I'm happy to announce that at this point we do have secured speech therapists that will all be servicing our learners here in the Waynesboro Area School District. With that being said, we do have content leaders for other subject areas. So the recommendation is to approve. This is just a stipend position for speech to basically work through the scheduling process and to essentially help the special education department with making sure that we are honoring the speech requirements for our learners, and then making sure that we're strategically scheduling our speech therapists. So the recommendation is to approve. This is a new content leader position. So the position needs to be approved first, and then we would post for the position.
Thank you, Dr. Sternheim. So is there a motion to approve the job description for the speech content leader ad as listed below? Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion? And this is a new position, but is a stipend position, correct?
That is correct. Yeah. So it would be a current speech therapist would apply for the position and get an additional stipend to help with the scheduling of our learners as well as our speech therapists.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving the job description for speech content leader, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. That then brings us to the list of the 2025 WASH's graduates.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So what I have to present to you is a listing of 314 students that are slated to graduate on Friday. So there's a listing there. So the recommendation is to approve this final graduation list for the class of 2025.
All right, is there a motion to approve the list of 2025 WASH's graduates?
Move to approve.
Second.
You have a first and a resounding second. Don't know what else there is to discuss on this list, other than congratulations. So we'll move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries, and we will pray and cross our fingers, turn around, throw salt over our shoulder and spit for good weather on Friday. For graduation to be held outside. Otherwise, we will be inside for that as well. So that brings us to our next item, which is the YMCA contract. Sure.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Marvin. So I actually, when I glanced at it, Mrs. Hennicol, I believe this is not the contract that we need to be approving. This is the extension of the before and after school program. So I'm going to request that we table this because what I was looking for is what we discussed last week, indicating that for the 2025-26 school year, I would like the board to consider waiving the cost for the before and after school program in lieu of allowing our WASH's swim team to utilize the pool for practices and for meets. So I believe this is the contract that's part of it, but this is not the right one. So my apologies. So I'll just table that.
Okay.
Just trying to think procedurally, we need to do there. Rather than a motion to approve, I think I will just, as board president. We'll have,
Motion to table.
yeah, so then I'll entertain a motion then, I don't like the word table, motion to postpone until the approved contract is uploaded for board review.
Second.
So the motion is to postpone action on this item until we have the YMCA contract uploaded for us to review and approve. Everyone clear on what we're doing? This is not approving the YMCA contract. This is postponing it until we have the correct contract listed. I just want to make sure everyone's clear on what we're voting on. Any questions? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. We will
Thank you.
bring that back then once we have the correct contract. And if you really want to get Robert's Rule nerd, afterwards, I'll explain why I did table versus postpone. But we don't need to do that right now.
I'll check my book.
Yeah, right. That then brings us to the AP French resource that Dr. Rohr mentioned before.
Yeah, so Mr. Marvin, as Dr. Royer mentioned, Mrs. Keegan, who's our French teacher, and Dr. McCallum, they did do some research on this resource and found it to be very valid and reliable, and we're seeking your approval for this resource to be used for AP French.
So the motion is to approve the purchase of a resource using the WASH's budget 24-25 funds.
Second.
Wow, there you threw me for a loop. It's been a minute since I've been in French. All right, so we have a first and a second. And just to clarify, Dr. Holtzman, if I'm reading this correctly, this is coming out of the high school building budget, not out of the curriculum budget.
Correct.
Okay, so just for those, this is essentially a line item. This is not coming out of the curriculum budget. Each of the buildings have a discretionary budget, which they can use for purposes within their own building. So this is coming out of the high school building discretionary budget. So just as a clarification of how this is being funded, it's coming out of the high school discretionary budget, which if I'm remembering correctly, Dr. Holtzman, the high school came under on the whole. Is that correct?
That was certainly true for next year. I think this year they're close. Dr. McCallum and I already talked, so they're well under
Okay.
budget at this point, but
Yeah.
yeah, they certainly were well under budget for next year as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
All righty. Any other, we have a first and a second, any other discussion?
Question, is this program computer interactive type of?
Oh, it's a resource.
Oh, it's just a resource,
printable
so it's not
resource.
like giving kids like
No, it's
access to
basically,
their
a
own.
lot of time looking at it, I was gonna comment, like, this is like a deal of a century. You're basically creating an AP course for $229. And the materials in this, I can't even, I mean, I can't even believe that she's only charging that much. Because there wouldn't be a big market for this. She could charge a lot, or I don't know if it's a she or a he, but they could charge a lot more. So I think that, the time has come that we can, look for some of these materials. The materials on this site, there was a day when I would have said, never would this happen. But I've learned to never say never. So, kudos to her for finding it. So yes, so it's just the printed materials. It's not actually a course.
Okay.
Very good. Any other questions or discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to item 6, the overnight trip for the WASH's Student Council.
So yeah, this was taken on 5/14. This was a leadership conference in Middlesex, PA. And I know that it was brought up before about costs and so forth, but the students did have an opportunity to raise money or funds for this trip. So it kind of already occurred, but
Right, is there a motion to approve this overnight trip?
Planned
in
November.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah, the date, yeah,
They submitted it
they submitted it.
my mistake.
Move to approve.
Second.
first and a second for a trip to come. All right, any discussion? I'm not seeing any. All
Next
those
year, it's next
for
year.
next year, yes. All those in
Year.
favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Up next, we have the 25-26 WAEA MOUs. Sharon?
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So what I have is a series of MOUs that have all been signed in the past. An MOU is a memorandum of understanding with the local association, WAEA. So we have one for cyber learning, the Inspire program, ISS, also known as in-school suspension, AI, alternative instruction, special education speech days, those are additional days, and the study hall monitor. The new one that I had explained in a Friday folder was the addition of 5 more days for high school counselors in order to work over the course of the summer to help schedule students either rework their schedules or create schedules. So the recommendation is to approve the MOUs for the 2025-26 school year.
Okay, so is there a motion to approve the WAEA MOUs as listed below for the upcoming 25-26 school year?
So move.
Second.
We have a first and a second. These were discussed in our executive session, but are there any additional questions? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Carries. That brings us to the 25-26 River Rock Academy contracts. Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Marvin. So the recommendation is to approve a 2025-26 River Rock contract. These contracts or these slots are essentially utilized for policy violators or special education students that need an alternative setting for a period of time. These slots are either available at Newville or in the Carlisle AEDY facility. So the recommendation is to approve these slots for the 2025-26 school year.
Thank you, Dr. Stronine. So is there a motion to approve the 25-26 River Rock Academy contracts as listed?
Move to approve.
We have a first, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any questions or discussion on these contracts?
This past school year, we used most of these slots through the whole year.
Well, this actually reflects a reduction. We did have 5 slots.
Okay,
But due to the increased costs, I've elected to start off with 3.
Okay.
Ultimately, I may have to come back to the board at another time, maybe this summer or in the fall to add additional slots. We are hopeful that there will be options here in Franklin County that we can tap into. So we have held on to 5 slots and have filled 5 slots for the last, I believe, 4 years. So I'm being cautiously optimistic, but it was a way to at least try to reduce some of the costs. But in an ideal situation, these should be almost like a rotating placement, whether it's 45 days, a little longer than that, so they're shared slots. Yeah, I'll let you know if we run into a situation where we might need more.
okay.
Any other questions? All right, so we have a first and a second, so the motion is before you. We'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That brings us to the Franklin County Children and Youth Agreement for 25-26. Dr. Holtzman.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So this is an annual agreement we have with Franklin County where they reimburse us 50% of our transportation costs. These are typically students who are in the foster care program placed outside the district. And so this is an agreement that the county enters into us with us to pay for that transportation. So typically we do this every year and then we submit probably an invoice at least once a month, every other month. And they're pretty quick on payment. So
Thank you. So the motion is to approve the 25-26 agreement with the Franklin County Children and Youth Service for partial reimbursement of transportation services. Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion or questions for Dr. Holtzman? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
thank you.
Brings us down to the generator contract.
Yes, sir. So we have multiple generators across the district. These are the emergency generators that you would see in each building that run the life safety system and emergency lights, things of that nature. And actually, over the years, we've added other items such as some of the walk-in freezers and coolers, things of that nature. Some of the technology in the buildings, again, to run on a limited basis if the power is out. This company, this is the 4th year we used them. This would be the 5th year if approved that we use them to do a service. They do a major and a minor service, and they did agree to keep their pricing flat for next year.
Dr. Holtzman. So our motion to approve the renewal of the Modern Group Agreement for planned maintenance on our building emergency generators at a cost of $5,145. Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a first and a second.
They're
Not cheap to fix. No, not at all. Any other questions for Dr. Holtzman on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That brings us to our last regular business item. This is a discuss only item. We are not voting on this tonight. I'll let Dr. Holtzman chime in here in just a minute. I asked that this be put on our agenda next board meeting, June 10th. We are voting on the 25-26 budget. We've had several presentations. We have voted on the preliminary budget. And so this will be voting on the final budget on June 10th. I know that in the board packet, the Friday folder that was sent out, there was a summary of where we are to date. Dr. Holtzman, anything you want to chime in on?
No, sir. Again, we did put some information in the Friday folder. Some of the items on there to note is that while it's showing a deficit of about 0.8% of our budget at this point, really some of those bond payments, we do not anticipate incurring those really. Again, if the projects go forward here, this approved probably would be early 26. If those projects go forward, we probably would not incur all of that bond debt really in the next fiscal year. We might incur a portion of it, but right now there's $300,000 in there for that bond deficit at this point, or for the bond debt, I'm sorry, at this point. Second to that then is we do have an administrative position that's not filled at this moment. Dr. Sterner Hyde has mentioned that she wanted that in the budget for the moment, just in case that was a district need, but that would have to be voted on separately anyway to fill the position itself. If you take those two items out, we're down to just under $300,000 deficit, which is about 0.3%. And then we do have a contingency fund. Now, about half of that contingency fund is probably going to be earmarked for cyber charter costs. Those continue to go up. But the other piece of it would then therefore be available to cover that deficit there. Should that funding not be available or another need come up, we do have a fund balance then in addition to that could be utilized, some of those funds as well to balance the budget should we need it in terms of approving a budget. The great caveat is always, we would love to tell you that here's what the state's going to give us in terms of funding. We would love to be able to say, here's the state funding, and we could all make a plan based on that. We, like the other 499 school districts, are typically stuck with not being able to make a decision on what the state funding is going to be. We have to kind of use an estimate as to what we think that's going to be for the next year. And that's what we've done in this budget here. We're right now using the governor's proposed budget out there. That includes the adequacy funding. That adequacy funding is tremendous for us. We have always said we have been an underfunded school district. The fair funding lawsuit came out and said that we were certainly an underfunded school district to the tune of about $24 million a year. Now, the state's not going to give us $24 million in year one. Obviously, they did not. They're giving us about 1/9 of that this year, 2.5 million. We're budgeting another 2.5 on top of that for next year. The state is telling us that that 2.5 becomes the base. So they said that they're not going to touch the base, but the next 2.5 is up for discussion and approval at the legislative level, along with every other district is in the same situation. So again, we would love to have that budget approved first before we come to you with a budget. Most years, we're going to pass a budget, and the state will pass a budget sometime in July, August, September. You pick the month. And it's- Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it puts every school board in a very challenging position having to do that. What we would say too, though, is, that adequacy funding, which was coming out of the Commonwealth Court. This was a lawsuit that was lost. That 2.5 million is very important to us as well as every other district, but they're essentially the state is using the rainy day fund to fund this at this point. The Independent Fiscal Office has stated that they believe the rainy day fund would potentially go down to zero by the end of, I think it's the 27 fiscal year. So June 30th of 27, I believe is what we've noted in here. So what would happen then to fund future years in terms of adequacy? I don't know. That's a great question. Again, we're only doing a 1-year budget, but we always like to look into the future to say what's going to happen down the road. So again, we would assume that at some point the state's going to have to figure out the revenue to be able to meet this obligation that they have. They recognize it is an obligation to the school districts. We're one of 348 districts to receive the adequacy funding.
I don't know if you
Yes, sir.
know the answer.
Sure.
So is there a deadline for the districts that are owed this funding? Is there a hard set deadline that they should have received the funding that they're owed?
So that's a great question. If I remember correctly, the lawsuit didn't come out and specify an actual date. But what they did do is they did start up the Basic Ed Funding Commission. I believe the Funding Commission came out and said that they should fund this over 7 years. But this being the first year that we're seeing that money, it looks like they're going to spread it over 9 years. So theoretically, it should have been over 7. Now it looks like it's going to be over 9. The great unknown question is once that rainy day fund is over with, what happens to that state funding, that additional funding starting in really the 27-28 school year? So I don't know if that answered your question or not. But
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
usually, it's especially as a part of a resolution as far as the lawsuit, they have what needs to be done and a deadline that has to be done.
And there might be a hard date in there, and I apologize. I just can't remember. I just can tell you, I can remember the mechanics of what happened after the lawsuit more so. So again, and this budget, I always like to wrap things up a little bit with just a general summary before answering questions. But the budget itself has no tax increase at this point. It still has a 0. That's our projection to come back to you in June with a 0 tax increase. The gambling funds are actually going to go up a little bit this year. And I've given you some additional information on that. We, as one of the school districts in Pennsylvania, again, we have not received our fair amount of funding. We actually don't receive what I would call our fair amount of homestead farmstead funding either from the state. So the state has an old formula based on 2001 to 2005 data. The average school district this year that we're currently in receives about $300 per parcel. That's average. We're receiving less than half of that. So, and that's indicative across Franklin County, unfortunately. So we have contacted our legislators. We have continued to start pushing in that area. I just saw an article a week or two ago from another legislator in another part of the state who's kind of also seeing the same thing and saying, hold a second, this isn't fair to our community either. That would reduce actual property taxes for individuals because we don't see a direct benefit from this, but the homeowners do. And it doesn't hurt our funding either at the same time. But anyway, I say all that to say, no tax increase in the current preliminary budget, which would be our proposed final budget at this stage. And then also the 7,700 homeowners and farm owners would actually see a slight reduction in their tax bill of about $21 because as more gambling funds go in, it reduces their actual assessed value.
Thank you, Dr. Holtzman. So I did want to open it up. I will say at our May Budget Committee meeting, it was a nice powwow with, Lloyd and myself and the admins and our Budget Committee board member team, but we did not have any public comment. So I wanted to open it up if there was additional board comment or concerns before we go to our last Budget Committee meeting again on June 9th, before we present it on June 10th.
I would just like to make two observations. That a deficit this small is essentially within the area of error. 1 or 2%, nobody can spend and predict this accurately within that small amount. So this could actually end up in the surplus. Probably not, but it could. The other one item is I did some snooping in the state budget a couple of months ago. And the amount of money fully fund the lawsuit, it's just gonna hit a wall. It's an enormous amount. And they don't like to raise taxes. So in 4 or 5 years, the stuff is gonna really be up.
I agree with Mr. Hamburger. I think the number I saw was right around $5 billion to make this fully funded at the end of the day with adequacy funding. So that's a big number, but the state budget's about $50 million. I mean, sorry, $1 billion. So it's about 1/10 of the budget. That's significant.
Where's the money coming from?
And to your point about the budget, our budget is a budget. It's the best case information we know at this time. You know, we have close to 600 employees when you think about all of our coaches and different positions and such. And, you know, I can tell you that right now, you know, we're not going to know exactly every person what they're going to be paid next year because we're going to have people that retire, that resign. We're going to hire new people at different steps and different column levels. We're going to have individuals who have family insurance now and might only need single person insurance because we hire somebody different, you know, at some point next year. So that budget will change a little bit over time. It can go up and go down just a little bit to your point, Mr. Hamburger.
And if people
Yep.
pay the property tax late, we get more money. If they pay early, we get less money. So it's, when you're this close, couple hundred, you know, Everett Dirksen said 100 million here, 100 million there, adds up to real money. Well, for us, a couple $100,000 here or there in this kind of a budget is the minimum.
I would agree. I mean, the bang that the community here gets for the education dollars that you spend comparing to some with other areas, right? That pay much more is tremendous. And that speaks to the dedication of the people who work in the district because they actually underpay and get over-serviced. And so that's a good problem to have, I guess. A dilemma or whatever you want to call it. But I just think that it is in the fact that we don't have to raise taxes on top of that, and we're still able to take care of insurance increases, pay increases, steps, and those sorts of things. It's testament to our business people here at the district office level as well, too. So kudos.
Oh, thank you.
And we're not cutting any programs.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, that's important to me.
Right.
And one of the good points too, I like to always mention is that, you know, again, typically we've been a very frugal school district. We're typically in that bottom 5%. That's actually come up a little bit. I used to use the phrase that we were in the bottom 1 or 2%. That's come up just a little bit. The adequacy funding has helped. The new funding formula for basic ed and special ed have helped us the last couple of years to receive a little bit more fair funding than what we had in the past. But you know, we often like to come out and tell people that there's a lot of things that we do that incur a cost that we do because of state or federal laws. And whether we would do them or not, if those laws existed, is another question. It's certainly a debate item. I give great examples. For example, we have to pay prevailing wage for any capital project we do over $25,000. And you can imagine just about anything we do in a building perspective is going to be more than $25,000. So we have to pay prevailing wage. That's a requirement that most organizations do not have to pay for, which drive our costs up. We also, and again, this one may or may not be a decision by a board were we to have that option, but we have to transport students up to 10 miles outside the border of our school district to non-public schools, and that includes Maryland. So we have that requirement as well. So, and again, you can go down the unfunded mandate list of what we have to do as a public school district here in Pennsylvania, and it comes at a cost, unfortunately.
I have a question. Previously, we had money in the budget to float bonds. Is that still there, or has that been taken out since
We still have that in there at this point, but we don't have an obligation itself to actually do it. That's about the $310,000 at this point. So we feel that if the projects go forward here and, we have to go out and issue bonds in the spring, again, there's a lot of ifs and ands there. Then we would potentially have some type of a bond payment maybe early that would happen in this fiscal year, but I would not anticipate it being to 310,000 at this point. But right now we still have $300,000 in there. Let's say, for example, even though it's in the budget, let's say, for example, that the projects themselves are delayed or changed so that it does not happen next year. And we just would not spend that $300,000. We wouldn't have we wouldn't have the authority to spend it anyway and borrow funds to do that.
So you're still planning on possibly doing this?
On the possibility, yes, ma'am. Yep.
I think my observation is one, when it comes to any public school budget, you're always funded by tax dollars. It's whether it's your local property taxes or it's your revenue, quote unquote revenue from state taxes. But as a public school district, we are funded by tax dollars. So taxes are a vital part. One of the ways, though, as you think about capital projects, the money is always due up front. And so you have to fund that somewhere. We don't have a huge surplus in our general fund. So as a budget and facilities committee, as we've discussed over the past year, we thought about, well, these projects need to happen, want to happen. And so if we choose to do them, what is the best way to do that? Could we take a huge insurmountable dip in our general fund? Sure. But you think for yourself as a homeowner, one of the ways you can pay to improve your house is go get a home loan. And so that is essentially, the interest rate we'd be charged on a bond is cheaper than any rate I'll get on my home. But that is one avenue available for us if we want to do capital projects. For years, I think we've punted on capital projects because we didn't have the general fund surplus and we didn't want to do huge increases on taxes. So one of the things we talked about this year is how do we finance a large capital project? How can we combine capital projects into one financing so we're not doing it multiple financings over time? So that's a summarization of some of our discussions over budget and facilities this past year. So,
And I might add that a budget is a tentative expenditure plan, not spending the money, but you have it available to spend if the board wishes. And a capital project with two things. The elected officials, whether it be the borough, the township, the county, or the school district, have to authorize to go to bid, have to authorize to award the bid, and then have to authorize to go out for a loan or a bond issue. So there are 4 or 5 stopgaps. Stop at any time. Obviously, you're not going to authorize a contract and award it and not fund it. If for whatever reason you get bids and we say they're too expensive or hold off till next year, it's up to this board to say do it and spend it.
Yeah, and as far as facilities are concerned, unless we are trying to transition into being a cyber charter district, we're going to eventually have to build some brand new facilities. Brand new, no patch ups, no additions, no renovations, but some brand new facilities. Maybe knock some down, build a new one in that spot. So that's coming sooner rather than later. So have to start thinking about that.
Buildings wear out. Just like my knees, but not yet.
there's more to say. I don't want to stop discussion. So, 25, 26 budget is what we're discussing now. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. If there is nothing else, I do just want to say this is, board has public comment. We had this discussion item this evening. At budget and facilities, we do discuss these at length, and there is a part where public can come and comment as well. So I don't want us, the people to think that we are just willy-nilly making decisions in the dark. But we do want to provide opportunities for discussion. So if you have something to say, we do want to hear it and give you the opportunity to say it. So I will go ahead and close discussion for this evening. And then we will move on then to financial business. So Dr. Holtzman, can we do items 1 and 2, please?
Yes, sir. We have purchase orders and bills for payment, general fund and cafeteria, as well as the treasurer's report.
Alrighty, thank you. So, do I have a motion to approve financial business items 1 and 2?
Speaking of authorizing to pay, so
There we go.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion or questions for Dr. Holtzman? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us down then to our Clayton cabinet comments. Anything from our Clayton team this evening?
Yeah, I just want to send a kudos out to all of our building administrators and teachers for getting through all the testing season. I believe it was just last week we wrapped up Keystones, I think Dr. McCallum. We appreciate everybody with no issues or because it's just because people been able to do it. We follow procedures and protocol. We appreciate that. I also want to just give a kudos to Dr. McCallum and the team and the advisory, the team and the prom committee and everything. And it was just very well done, very well attended with adults. I commented to Dr. McCallum, wow, there's a lot of adults around here. That's a good thing. There's adults at the bathroom doors, there's adults up on on the balcony area, guarding the steps, meandering about out in the balcony. Officer Gord was out in the parking lot, policing the area out there. So it's just really kind of cool to see the learners coming together, having a good time, having fun, without doing anything they ought not be doing. So like tonight, you're laying there Saturday night, and I don't know, I'm sure Dr. McCallum, like the phone's beside the bed, and you're like, okay, I don't want the phone to go off because you don't want any post activities. And we didn't, and we haven't, so like
It's a blessing.
that's just a great to the team and to our students who are out there just having a good time and being responsible. So we appreciate that. And I'll just say this, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Crown personally. I know that she's going to do a fantastic job. She's got what it takes, no doubt about it, and you all believe that too, because you were behind her and chose her. So she's going to be fantastic. So it was great to work alongside of you, Dr. McCallum, when you were the principal, and I know you're going to be awesome in this role. So congratulations.
Anything else from our Clayton team?
I was just going to offer Dr. McCall an opportunity. Is there anything that we need to know about graduation that you have not already communicated?
You have to go to the mic.
Yeah,
if
go to
there
the mic
is.
if there is.
I got you, Nick.
We just need to coordinate what time we're meeting here, or did we?
She sent that in the email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, she did?
What time?
Good.
I did send an email.
Okay.
So thank you for those organizational pieces. And I'll give a shout out to the Blue Ridge Summit. No, I'm sorry. It's the Mont Alto Fire Department. So we will again have a couple graduates arriving on the fire truck, and it will be parked for your photo enjoyment. And I appreciate Officer Gordon and Mr. McElwain making all of those arrangements with those fine folks and supporting a couple of our learners and one of them that really needed it. And we'll get to give him his diploma thanks to them. So, but otherwise, you know the drill, and we're excited to have you.
We're meeting in the library again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Very good.
The board is also invited if they're interested in Friday morning, we will hold our celebration day. And at the Oyer Auditorium, we'll be recognizing our retirees. We're recognizing our borough bests, as well as awarding pins for years of service and perfect attendance. And then we're going to roll out our AI professional learning. Our teachers as well as paraeducators had the opportunity to sign up for 3 different sessions. So as we embark or continue to embark in the journey of AI, we're hopefully going to be off to a great start at next school year. And I thanks to the policy committee for essentially working through the AI policy as well.
Alrighty. Any board member comments for this evening?
I'd like to give a shout out to a local business. I was scrolling Facebook Saturday evening and saw that Antietam Dairy was going to remain open until 11 o'clock Saturday night. And right away I said to my husband, that's probably for any prom goers that would like to go. And I'd sooner see prom goers go eat ice cream than go drink. So I don't know if Antietam Dairy got any business between 10 and 11, but I thought it was nice of them to do that.
I just have one question. I know it's very early in the game, but have we reviewed the impact of the closing of Mount Alto on our early to college programs and so on?
So when I come up, okay. So I know that I was quoted in the local paper, and ultimately I guess all of us were very much aware it could happen, but I think when the reality of it happened, it sort of changed the sense of urgency. Interestingly enough, it comes and goes, and Dr. McCallan can speak to it. Like there are certain years we have far more students attend. Penn State Mont Alto, I feel that what it offers our learners is the opportunity to get, a Penn State education in your backyard and not have to go to a main campus. However, we are blessed that, we do have other universities, here in Franklin County, Mount St. Mary's in Maryland. So we are fortunate, but it was somewhat, you can't argue with a 43% reduction in enrollment. So, but I feel like collectively as a community, I have witnessed the community in the past rally behind something that we believe in, and this might be something that, we can definitely try to pursue. So Dr. McCallum?
So I don't have the figures in front of me and I can work on getting them for everybody. Maybe not this week, but next week. What I'm kind of noticing as a trend over the last couple of years is that probably most of the students who are going to Penn State Mont Alto for early to college are ones planning to attend Penn State University because they're guaranteeing the transfer of the credits. Of our partners, it is our most expensive one. So students who aren't quite sure where they're planning to go for their 4-year degree, seeing a lot more of Hagerstown Community College. Mr. Leidy was really advocating for me to work with, I feel terrible. It's either IUP or CalU. That was one that we just recently approved. That one is pretty much in line with what our students are, actually cheaper than Hagerstown because they've lost some of their funding. So that one's actually a little bit more expensive for our students because they're out of state. Unless you have a job in Hagerstown, there's some kind of a mechanism where if students have like a part-time job at a place and they're on some list for Hagerstown, then they can get the in-state rate. So yeah, so I don't anticipate it negatively impacting our students, but obviously that it's one more draw away from the campus for them. So it is unfortunate. I appreciate you wearing your Penn State zip up there.
I was gonna do it for Mr. Kaiser. I saw him gallivanting around the community in an Ohio State quarter zip, and I was aghast. So I figured I had to wear my Penn State quarter zip.
That's cause for termination.
I know. So for a student board rep, there's something there. So there has to be a story, but I figured I had to wear my Penn State quarter zip to counteract the Ohio State energy in the community.
Well, at least it wasn't Michigan.
So, yeah. So, anything else from our board? All right, so just a matter of record, we did have an exec session before our meeting this evening to discuss personnel. We will not be doing anything afterwards. I don't know if Antietam Dairy is open right now, but
Close at 8 o'clock.
well, I'll be faster next time. I will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
There's a second.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all and congrats to our 25 graduates.